Now, it is a very serious and problematic situation when the Prime Minister calls a media conference to talk about cybersecurity and not naming the place, but everyone seems to be pointing one finger, and that is to Chinese authorities, who are trying and have been trying over some months now to snare and upset us. China's very active in a lot of places. India and China have got disputed borders and have had for a long, long time, and it's now the Indian Army and the Indian Navy are on standby as well about Chinese aggression. And we'll talk about that, and also what's happening in the Pacific. There's lots to talk about here, Bronwyn, but either way, you would hope that the Prime Minister's statement today makes them cool their heels. But I think these people are doing what they damn well like. They're ripping at us from all sides at the moment.
Well, Gary, we have to realise that this is what socialists do, what socialist governments do. The Communist Party of China, their economy is failing. And the more it fails, the more aggressive they become. Hence, at that very tense border with India, the aggression is there. The exercises they're partaking in, showing strength, aggression. Again, the aggression against Australia, we're seeing at every turn, whether it's threatening to not putting a tariff on our barley, whether it's saying students can't come or tourists can't come, whatever it is. And now this great cyberattack. And it was quite clear from the words of the Prime Minister that there are very few state actors who have the ability to do such an attack as they have done, not just on government, but on the private sector as well. So what we have to do is we can't just keep on talking about things. We have to act. And we have to make a determination that we are not going to be captive to China as we have slipped into over the last decade. We have to do things like, say, our universities have to restructure and not be dependent on the fee-paying students from China and downgrading the quality of the education that we're giving. We have to say that we'll build up our own manufacturing. And to do those things, we've got to give our people cheap electricity. So get the hell out of Paris. Get out of that submarine contract. We need something we need now, not in 2035. We've got to cut taxes to let business get going again. And all importantly, we need a great big red pencil to rule out the expenditure on waste. And if we don't do these things, and if we don't get rid of that virus, that contagious virus that Malcolm Turnbull let slip into the Liberal Party, that touch of socialism, we've got to fight that out too. So if we're going to get really serious about what we're going to do, we have to act. We can't just talk.
I mean, Caroline, the problem is that these cyber attacks, it's been put to me, we're just testing to see what our response is. So digging away at government, trying to see how far they could get before a firewall went up to stop it, digging away at commerce, digging away maybe at our transport systems, maybe digging away at our electricity supply systems, just testing to see what our responses were. And sometimes, as you know, if you click that link on that email you don't know, they're inside your system. This thing is insidious, and it's all very, very possible we are prone.
Yeah, of course it is, and to a large extent, you never know. I mean, you can plan as much as you possibly can, but you never know where it's going to come from or when it's going to happen. And I know the Prime Minister today didn't want to, to use a sentence for this week, didn't want to mention the war. But the fact of the matter is that sort of thing is going on. And it's not just happening here, and it's not just China. It's happening across the Pacific, it's happening across Asia. And the thing is ultimately we get what we tolerate. So Bronwyn does make a good point in the sense that we need to have our eggs in several different baskets, but we need to be firm. And, Scott Morrison came out today, and I think it was good for the Australian people to hear and to know that things aren't always rosy all the time, because a lot of stuff goes on that none of us ever hear about. And the fact that the PM came out and said that this was happening, and Anthony Albanese, full credit to him, came out and said he supported the government and the agencies 100%. It's that sort of stance that needs to be taken to give us the best chance of being able to fight back something like this.